a nice and calm, relaxing day. You're taking it easy, you're playing games, maybe watching anime. Maybe you took a nice fat one for that day. I don't know, whatever works for you. And then, one thing happens that makes you so profoundly uncomfortable for that one day. It starts off simple. You realize, damn, I gotta use it. So you go and you pull out the genitals of your choice and you use it and then you're done. Or so you think. Just when you shake off your dick or your pussy, I don't know, whatever works for you, it happens. Some piss drips out and falls on your foot. You're uncomfortable now. Why did this happen? Why didn't the pee come out when I peed? Why do my genitals hate me? Now I gotta wash my feet and put on a new pair of socks. I was clean all day and now I gotta wash my fucking feet. I share a bed with my wife. Now I have to explain to her why there's pee on my foot. And she knew exactly what she'd do when that day came.
I'm leaving you.
Why? Now you're all by yourself. You're out of games to play because your friends won't play with you. Why would they? You peed on your foot. There's nothing to do. So now you gotta find something to watch. I don't know. Whatever works for you. In my search for shit to watch, I scoured all of Netflix. Not really, I just watched some movies that were in my backlog for a while and god damn, Green Book, what a fucking movie. If you're hearing noises, it's because they're putting out a dentist downstairs and drilling now is the best fucking choice. They wanna drill now. Now they wanna drill. They wanna drill now. One of my friends suggested I check out the show It's Okay to Not Be Okay, and my god, I really don't have patience to put up with piss poor writing like this anymore. Character interactions that make no sense. Character motivations that are devoid of logic, romance that barely fucking exists, and characters that are bottom of the barrel unlikable. People are calling out the amazing charisma between the two lead actors, but fuck me if this isn't one of the most blatant forms of projecting what's barely there that I've ever seen. All the show and the fan reaction to it showed me is one thing. If attractive characters do stupid or deplorable shit, fans will eat that shit up without question. Don't get me wrong, I do think there's something worth seeing in this K-drama. I just don't think it's something I want to see any more of. I just don't have the patience to deal with slugging through the slows to get to the highs on hour-long episodes. There's far too much other shit to watch. I get that shows like It's Okay to Not Be Okay write their characters overtly in order to develop those characters, but for a character that can be considered bottom of the barrel, even just an inch of separation from the scum beneath can be considered development. I just can't see this as decent writing. It just seems contrived and uncreative. Anyway, I've been on a tirade about this vague show enough, and if you've seen the thumbnail or you read the title, you know that K-drama is not the topic of discussion for this video, though it is a part of the problem that I generally found myself having with shows of this type. You see, the biggest problem I had with It's Okay to Not Be Okay is how it felt like there was a glaring lack of subtlety in the writing. The worst of the worst characters had to remind you how bad they were nearly every time they were on screen. Stressed out characters needed to exude stress at every chance they got, and the softer, less outspoken characters were given a lot of time to stand there and have the camera pan and tilt around their face. It was like everything was painted in black and white, that when you think a character's completely shit, the show goes out of its way to show you that no! They weren't as bad as we portrayed them. We just left out these glaringly opposing characteristics till we believed it was convenient to change your mind. Aren't we fucking smart? No, you're just not good at writing a more subtle display of the goods and bad of a character. And where I find this problem persists most consistently is in any given anime, much of which also relies on extraordinarily blatant displays of characterization. Often the heroes are unquestionably good, every scene they in is there to remind you just how good they are. I'm gonna kick you in your puss. I would like to see you try. But then we'll be friends. But why? And the villains are sometimes treated far worse. This is not to say that a lack of subtlety is bad. To say that a story needs subtlety to be good is kind of pretentious, and we do not like pretentious here at the UPD. Actually, I don't know if that's true for Cloud. Cloud? He's not here. Anyway, no pretentiousness. In good stories or even just any given entertaining anime, a lack of subtlety often doesn't bother anyone. JoJo is good, and JoJo is purely and overtly over the top, completely aware of what it is and how it's perceived, and people often eat that shit up. JoJo is anything but subtle, and really doesn't need to be. I had to try and film this video the one day that they decided to just drill the whole fucking day. Like, I've been filming this video for nearly an hour now, and every 5 minutes of recording, there's another piece of drill. It's just so fucking annoying. At the same time, we have to accept that sometimes it's hard to convey subtlety or nuance in animation. Not that I believe it can't be done, but I do believe in general people have an easier time with stories where the characterization is more straightforward and where expository dialogue does most of the work. However, when you want me to take your story as seriously as you seem to take it, it's hard not to expect just a little more. After all, you want me to take these serious moments seriously. I can't do that if your story relies on exaggerations and caricatures. So clearly, I was in my own head. What was I looking for? Same thing we were looking for. Something well written, something well thought out, something that doesn't just get a brain pass because it's anime or K or J drama. Was I unreasonable? Of course I was. I only got into this situation because I pushed on my own fucking foot. I finally decided to call it quits and it's okay to not be okay. And I suggest we all adopt the mindset of, if I'm not enjoying it after 3 episodes, it's not worth the time. Life is too short to give everything a chance, and the emotions experienced by a good story can be fleeting. Therefore, I turned to YouTube instead. There I came across a channel. That's right, I came across it. It's not like I was subbed the entire time. Anyway, the creator's name is Gigguk. He runs an anime channel and gives what I think are brilliant reviews of anime and manga. By the way, check him out. He's got a relatively small channel. He could use our support. By the time I was done with the K-drama, he had released his anime of the year list. In it, one of the shows he presents is a show that I actually decided to finish. A show that addressed many of my issues with K-drama and anime in general. That show is Sonny Boy. Sonny Boy is a beautiful coming-of-age story that doesn't always give you what you want, even if what you want is any fucking idea of what's actually going on with the plot. It tells the story of 36 students who all get cast away to another world through a seemingly random series of variables. In other words, yes, it's an Isekai. Jesus, wait, don't leave it. It's not typical Isekai. Let me just finish before you click off. In this other world, they find that each of these students have some kind of unique superpower. Maybe some of the most unique superpowers I've ever seen since my interest in Boku no Hero all but died, like a silent fart on a stormy day. Due to these superpowers, however, social discord begins to develop between the characters themselves, and our main heroes, 3 students in particular, need to find a way to navigate through the social rules of this new life. Now, if you're anything like me, this explanation already has your ears perked up, and I'm gonna shoot them! I'm gonna shoot these nuggets with a gun! Now, if you're anything like me, this description already has your ears perked up, and I would honestly say that it's exactly as interesting and intriguing as it sounds. Sonny Boy is far from your usual Isekai. The story hardly ever focuses on the powers of the world itself, but rather, emphasis is placed on how these characters navigate their way through this complex societal background that continuously develops as each episode goes along. Not only does the story play out to one of the most interesting soundtracks in an anime that I've heard in a long time, but it does so with a kind of visual flair that makes practically each scene perfect wallpaper material. Yes, I can hear some of you reminding me of Arcane, but I'm talking about anime right now, so please, fuck off. The creative and almost experimental art on display feeds into the surrealist ideas developed throughout the story and gives the anime one of the most unique looks given to any anime. I'm specifically talking about anime now, of 2021. Much of what happens in the anime can't be discussed because I don't want to give spoilers, like the bitches who couldn't keep their mouths shut even just a week after Spider-Man No Way Home dropped.
Gigguk Shows Da Wae.
Though I can imagine right now you're asking yourself, Moby, what the fuck does this have to do with subtle writing? And that's where the hook of Sonny Boy gets you. Subtlety is written into the very fabric of the show itself. One of the things about Gigguk's video that interested me very much was his admittance that he didn't always know what was going on in Sonny Boy. If you paid attention, you'll notice that when I first described Sonny Boy, I called it a coming-of-age story. If you're not paying attention, however, you could very much miss that part about the show. Sonny Boy is essentially using its abnormal premise and surreal world to tackle much more serious adolescent topics such as alienation, regret, loneliness, the ugly sides we hide in ourselves, the monotony of the working world, especially in Japan, the pain of unrequited love, all while developing its characters steadily as the anime story goes on in the background of these themes. Rather than focus its story on the world in which the plot, if we can call it that, takes place, Sonny Boy wants us to focus on the questions it asks, and not the questions that stem from the constantly evolving mystery, but rather the subtextual questions presented within the relationships between the characters, questions on human growth and the bonds we form on our path to adulthood. Questions on validation and how we seek it from others. Questions on the connections we make and the effects we have on those we feel deeply for. These ponderings make up the psychological journey that our heroes go on. And while many of us may lose ourselves in the mystery of the world and the questions it makes us ask, Sonny Boy asks us to ignore these surrealist fantasies and to focus on the real things that make up our lives as we constantly develop, where we're always moving forward and leaving people behind. Sonny Boy is a subtle and subtextual story told on the foundations of an overt and over-the-top premise. Now you're about to say, Moby, this is all sounding very pretentious.
You're goddamn right.
The problem I found myself having with Sonny Boy is this emphasis on subtext. The surrealist world is the backdrop to the philosophical questions they want you to pay attention to, and sometimes that becomes a detriment to the world and storytelling itself. I think it's very interesting that the director Shingo Natsume wanted to leave us with the response, I don't know, especially with regards to the questions he wants us to ponder. I do not, however, think that anyone should constantly be giving that in response to plot coherence or consistency. The problem is that it seems the deeper subtextual ideas take prevalence over making any sense of the plot or many of the characters that surround the main cast. People often come in and conveniently drive the plot, their motives will remain unknown, and their characterizations, despite all that I have said, will still come off as over the top and often lacking in justification or sense. Some people are wicked, but why are they? To drive the plot? Where do they come from? How do they serve the world building? How do they fit in? What the fuck is this now? Who the fuck are these people? Many of these questions will often go careening around your head as you watch the show. And while I believe many of the questions viewers ask themselves about the world can be answered, to fully grasp what the anime has to say, as well as answer the questions you might actually be interested in, since not everyone gives a shit about regret or loss or any of these questions we have been forced to ponder time and time again by numerous other stories, episodes have to be watched multiple times. That's a lot to ask of the viewer given the vast amount of more interesting and often more cohesive stories that exist. This desire to put these time and time again asked questions at the forefront of everything sometimes comes as a disservice to the anime itself. Most viewers who follow along much easier will just say, oh, you just don't get it, dude. You just... No, you fucking turd, I do get it. I can get it and still fault it. Like I said, these questions have been asked before, a lot of them in anime itself. Where I believe the issue mainly lies is with the anime asking, can you turn off your brain to one part while keeping it on for some deeper part of the story? Can you ignore all this mystical, mysterious world building and focus on what we actually want to say? Many of us can be justified in saying, I shouldn't have to. Sorry, I just realized midway through recording I forgot to change the fucking background. Luckily, the light is shining so much on it you won't even notice the difference, but whatever. Often, the best kind of stories can make us ponder deep philosophical questions while telling a well-rounded and logically cohesive story that doesn't rely on the it's just anime pass. We can often see this in, and I never fucking thought I'd say this, modern horror, The Empty Man, Hereditary, Get Out. All stories displaying interesting and mysterious concepts on screen while subtextually presenting deep questions on regret, death, loneliness and isolation. At the same time, none of these more subtle aspects get in the way of the story itself. Rather, these subtextual nuances are accompanied by a well-rounded story as well. Now, I know I've said a lot, and after all the stuff that I just said, you're probably going to be thinking that Sonny Boy is not worth watching. You'd be wrong. Sonny Boy is interesting in both what is seen and what is not seen, and I think many of us would be better off for having watched it, if not just to see the limitless potential for storytelling within the anime medium. No matter what you take away from Sonny Boy, even if it's just a what the fuck was all that, I think there's something here for those who are even just a little bit interested, and if you're not, there's always the next story that'll eventually come along and take its place. Maybe Demon Slayer is more your thing, or even JoJo, I don't know, whatever works for you. Thank you all for watching. It's good to be back. I know it's been a while since we've made a video. The person that I spoke to about the K-drama thing might be a bit weirded out by this one because I watched this show quite a while back actually, and I meant to make this video a few weeks ago, but I've been super lazy. I'm just gonna admit that straight up. Shouldn't say that online, should I? That's fine, whatever. Anyway, don't expect weekly uploads from us anymore, and that's not because we don't like making videos weekly. I just think that when we put more time and more thought into videos, they sometimes come out better. So yes, don't expect weekly uploads. I just think it'll be better if we take our time with our videos and hopefully put out better products that people can enjoy more consistently. If you like what you see here, consider leaving a like, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. It's nice to see all the new people come along, and please, while you guys stop! Hi, welcome. I hope you have a good time with our content. It's a little bit all over the place, so that's because we like to try a lot of different stuff. I don't know if you can see that in our videos so far, but anyway, thank you all for coming. Thank you all for supporting. I hope you enjoyed the video. See you all in the next one. Have a very good fuck off. All right, bye guys.
Smoking beanies tonight. I'm off a big sack. Smoking big dick tonight. I'm off a booth pack.